Good morning, friends. You ready to sing our song? The sun is shining, good morning, and we're all smiling. Good morning to everyone. Hooray, hooray, have a good day. Awesome. Why don't we do some itsy bitsy spider? What do you guys think? Itsy bitsy? All right. Itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. The itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again. Great. And why don't we do I'm a Little Teapot to finish it off. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my spout. When I get all steamed up, hear me shout. Tip me over and pour me out. Awesome. All right, my friends. So we've been talking about recycling. We are going to talk at the beginning of next week about where our recycling goes after we put it in the recycling bin. But today I wanted to talk to you about where our trash goes after the trash can and why that's important. Hi, Dave. Because the things that we put in the trash just end up going to what's called a landfill. And that is where the trash is collected and buried. And if it is not biodegradable, which means if it doesn't break down naturally, it's just gonna stay there, right? So what is biodegradable? It's a big word. Biodegradable, again, means to break down naturally in the earth. So things like food, paper, cardboard, biodegradable. Certain types of like natural cleaners, those are biodegradable. Things like plastic, styrofoam, not biodegradable. Now some plastic we can recycle, right? So that can go in the recycling bin, but styrofoam can't. It's just there forever. So it's best not to use it if we can manage that. I wanted to do a little experiment over the next week or so with you guys. I'm gonna try and angle this so that you can see what I'm doing. So I have here, I didn't have a plastic bucket, so we have a container with a plastic bag and some soil in there, just some regular old potting soil. So this sort of acts as what landfill would be like. There's usually a barrier to keep anything from in the trash from leaking into the surrounding dirt. And then things get buried. So we are gonna make 3 holes in the dirt, and we are gonna put some trash in there. Wait a week when we leave it outside and see what happens. So the first thing we're gonna put in is this plastic water bottle cap. Okay, that's gonna go in our first hole there, and we're gonna cover it up. Now we're gonna put in, let's put you down for a sec. We're gonna put in a piece of scrap paper. I'm gonna crumple it up. It's gonna go in there. We're gonna bury that. And then we have a banana peel, piece of a banana peel. We are gonna put that in our third hole and cover that up. So we've got our 3 pieces of trash in our little mini landfill. Now, what do you think is going to happen when that sits outside for a week? It's gonna get rained on. The sun is gonna shine on it. I don't know how cold it's gonna get. It might get really cold, it might get really hot. What do you think might happen to those 3 things? And remember what we talked about with what's biodegradable and what's not. So do we think that the plastic, the little cap, is gonna break down, or is it gonna look exactly the same? I predict it will look exactly the same because plastic doesn't break down. Now, what about the piece of paper? Does paper break down in dirt? It does. So I predict what we might see in a week is it will likely still be there, but it might be starting to break apart and become tinier and tinier pieces. And if we left it longer than that, it would break down entirely to the point where you couldn't tell the difference between the paper and the soil anymore because it's become part of the same thing. Now, how about that banana peel? What do you think is going to happen with that? That is also biodegradable, but it's going to take longer because it's thicker. So what is likely going to happen with that is it's going to get really brown and really wilted, but not completely biodegrade within a week. And we'll check on it and see how it goes. And then maybe once we check on it, we can cover everything back up and leave it for longer and see what happens. All right, my friends. So what do you think is going to happen? If there's anything different that you predict might happen, any other way you think this might go, or if you want to try this experiment at home, let me know. Send me pictures. I would love to see how yours goes, to see maybe what you do differently if you choose to put different kinds of things in there, to see what would happen, right? So what are some ways that we can reduce the amount of stuff that goes to a landfill? Recycling is a big one. That's what we've been talking about, right? If we pull out the things that we can recycle from our trash, then that goes to the recycling center, which we're going to talk about next week. And it doesn't end up in the landfill. We can reuse what we can. So if you get a pasta sauce jar or like a reusable plastic water bottle, these are things that you can reuse at home instead of putting them in the trash. Even the pasta sauce jar, you wash it out, it's nice and clean, you can use it as a vase for flowers. That is what my flowers are in the other room right now. You can use them as drinking glasses. There's all sorts of ways that you can reuse the things that you get and not just have to put them back into the trash and the recycling. We can be more thoughtful about the things that we buy, right? A lot of the times we don't need the things that we're buying, but we just want something new, right? It's exciting to get something new. Well, let's see if we can make our old things feel like something new. Change them up. Add some paint. Cut with some scissors. See what you got, you know? Reusing what we already have is a great way to not contribute to more trash filling up the landfills, because we don't want to run out of space, right? And it's also bad for the environment. So the more we can recycle, the more we can reuse is really good for our environment. All right, my friends, we are going to read a story. I'm going to move this out of the way so I have room to read to you guys. All right. This book is called Mary Had a Little Glam. It's by Tammy Sauer. Oh. Mary had a little glam that grew into a lot, and everywhere that Mary went, she wasn't hard to spot. She says, "Is that your curtain? Meow?" But on the day she started school, she caught some by surprise. Sweet Mary shrugged and hugged her mom. "I must accessorize." Then Mary click-clacked down the block in frilly formal wear, and by the time she got to school, she'd added extra flair. When Mary took a look around, her heart was filled with woe. The other kids in class with her were glamless head to toe. So Mary offered fashion tips: more pink, more beads, more shine, a hat for him and trim for her. Go boa, it's divine. Soon Mary brought out glitz and glam in everyone she met, the students, teacher, principal, and clerk, the classroom pet. Now story time had gowns and crowns and mounds of striped chiffon, and art class came with glitter glue and trips to her salon. Then Mary amped up music class with pomp and circumstance. At checkout time she was sublime, not a thing left to chance. The morning flew, and soon it was the best part of the day. "It's recess time," the teacher said, and Mary led the way. But all came to a sudden stop. Each kid surveyed the scene. "We're clearly dressed all wrong for this," boo-hooed the 17. Poor Mary twirled her parasol. This crisis was a 10. She'd never figure out a plan. All was lost. But then she tossed her shades and silk-lined cape, her scarf and strappy shoes, and Mary's friends were just as fast. There was no time to lose. The class raced for the jungle gym, the spiral slide and swings. Then Mary grinned and grabbed a ball, among some other things. Now Mary's flair for what to wear is better than before. True glamour often calls for lots, but sometimes less is more. All right, my friends, I'll see you back here soon to finish up Pirates Past Due.